explain this to me. You knew Sheena, you loved what she was doing with the brand, with Kosas, and you just ran into her and you said, if you ever launch in Sephora,
I'm pretty sure I DM'd her.
Okay, that's amazing.
Yeah,
okay, you DM'd Sheena.
And she said, let's meet for coffee.
I'm Susan Yara, and welcome to My Life Online. We're going to have a lot of fun and learn a lot together. People are always surprised to hear that my brand NATURIUM was acquired after just 4 years. There's no doubt that is record time for a beauty brand, but there's another beauty brand that grew even faster. It's called K18, and if you've been part of my community for a while, you've probably heard of them. I bring this up because every successful brand has some incredible people behind it. Yes, the founder's vision matters, but I would not have seen such tremendous growth without my team. The same goes for K18. That's why I'm so excited for my guest, Michelle Miller, the SVP of Global Marketing for K18, to join us today. In this episode of My Life Online, she's going to share her beauty routine, her background, and give some insight on the rapid growth of K18, one of the most exciting hair care brands on the market right now. All right, Michelle, we'll start off with the easy questions first, okay? Everyone wants to know your beauty routine.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I packed my beauty overnight bag for this.
Okay.
And I actually had my must-haves, which is my DKNY deodorant.
Okay.
I have hyperhidrosis, so that absolutely helps any sweating. And it smells like, I've heard expensive baby.
Yeah.
Which is very nice.
Expensive baby. I love it.
I actually also packed the purple ginseng cleansing balm because I need to wash off all my makeup at night. And then I love Kosas concealer.
Yep.
Actually launched that, so have a soft spot in my heart for it.
Okay.
And then I've been really into the Victoria Beckham contour stylist stick. I don't know if you've seen that on TikTok.
I have seen it. I have not used it though.
It works really well, and I love how skinny it is. And Victoria Beckham has just been winning me over lately.
Yeah, it's like just it almost looks like a liner, right?
It's like a pen. You can use it under as a liner. And then I love Better Than Sex mascara. I'm an OG fan.
Yeah, I love it. Anytime somebody says it, I always think of Jeannie Mai.
Kind of doing
her little commercial for
that.
it. I totally do.
That was during my time there, and yes.
Yeah, it was. We actually have talked about it several times on the channel because I think it was like one of the best, I don't know, most memorable ads or like content creator ads, influencer ads.
It was such a good one, and it was one of our first what we called viral videos, even though, I don't think it wasn't viral in the way that's considered today, but
not organically viral. You guys made
we put
it
a lot behind it, and it was a concept, but it was one of the first times a smaller influencer talent helped us amplify it.
I love that though, because that is truly that's what we do nowadays. That is viral videos.
Yeah, and of course Jeannie's much bigger now and no longer small. But
okay, well, tell us a little bit about your background and how it led to K18.
Oh my gosh, well, my background is actually in media and journalism.
Okay.
I thought I was going to be a reporter.
Sisters, that's the same, yeah.
Yes, it takes so much brain power, and I think you have to learn a lot in a fast amount of time. And so, once I was in media for a while, I realized the ceiling was a little bit lower. It was 2008. It was when everything was going digital. And I actually then pivoted to PR.
Yep.
I realized that wasn't necessarily for me.
Okay.
But I got to work with a lot of startup brands, dabbled in social media for the first time, and got the opportunity to go brand side into beauty at Too Faced. Found myself in beauty there and really discovered how much I loved it. It was a place that was creative, could be inclusive. I thought I was going to be into fashion, but beauty was where I started and stayed.
What was your role at Too Faced exactly?
So I started in as a marketing assistant and got to do everything. The marketing team was stagnant. There wasn't much going on, and we didn't have much budget. And at the time, social media was free. No one had really done Instagram. We were one of the first beauty brands on the platform. And it was a very different time.
Yeah. What year was this?
So this was 2012.
Yeah.
And it was the word content creator or influencer wasn't in the vernacular.
No.
We used to say, social media star or blogger.
Yeah.
And so all we really had was product. And so we decided to just gift it to anybody that asked. And at the time, we had people like, Jeffree Star just starting out doing makeup master classes. Vegas Nay, who at the time had a lot of followers on Instagram, that a platform no one knew about. So
Vegas Nay.
Yes.
I have not heard that name in a long time.
Yes, it was very, very niche. And a lot of beauty brands at the time, these weren't people that you necessarily would think of to be the face of a brand or that you might want to gift products. We were really open and we gifted and we were created relationships with these people. Yeah. And it helped both of us.
Yeah. And that's what you mean by free. Like you were just gifting and everything.
Yeah. So they were
just organically talking about it.
Yes. I think at the time people didn't see makeup or beauty in that way. It wasn't as accessible. So you didn't get to learn how to use it. Michelle Phan at the time really opened up that door for a lot of content creators and people just to have that parasocial relationship with beauty and with somebody. I remember the power of it is like I had a dream about Michelle Phan, like she was my friend. And I woke up and I thought, wow, the power of content creation, social media, and YouTube, there's just nothing more real than that.
And at the time, Instagram was around, I remember, but it was like vintage looking photos. Do you remember this? Like these filters and stuff.
Oh my gosh, of course.
Nobody's posting video. There's no stories. There's no like any of that.
And you couldn't edit captions at the time.
Oh my goodness, that's true. Oh, I'd hate to go look at my old captions from that time.
Oh my goodness. And it's working from a brand side. If you messed up the caption, it was like, oh no, I'm going to get fired.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's true though. That's real. I think a lot of people who were maybe experiencing that understand it. And when I say maybe some people, I know that this one over here, Anna, our producer, she used to run social media for us at a magazine.
Oh my goodness.
And there was so much stress. I remember she had a lot of pressure and a lot of anxiety around posting on Instagram. She hated it.
So, from there, we did our first brand deals, creator collaborations, product collaborations. And it really, for beauty, was the start of diving into the creator economy and using social media as a marketing lever.
Yeah. So you're at Too Faced for how long?
I was there for 4 years, about from right before we got acquired. So in that 3 years, and then we were acquired by Estee Lauder, and I left shortly after that.
Okay, so first acquisition of your life. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was exciting.
Well, okay, so then after that, you decide to leave.
Yes.
Can I ask why you decided to leave after being there? Did it have anything to do with like the acquisition or anything, or you were just ready?
I think I was early in my career. It was definitely a situation where you could be a lifer in the sense of staying at one place. I have colleagues that have done that. I think for me, I was hungry to build and create a hyper-growth situation.
Yeah.
And also be there early in. It's really fun when you wear a lot of hats and the business can get so big that it might be time for someone else to take over the reins.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually found myself at IGK in hair.
IGK, I remember when they were starting. How old were they at that point when you joined them?
So they were actually very young. I think about a year in. The brand had been developed and launched at Sephora when I came. So it was really about introducing a brand new hair care line to the Sephora audience from a hairstylist perspective. I learned a lot about B2B.
Yeah, for people that don't know what that is, what's B2B?
B2B is business to business versus, let's say, like direct to consumer. Yep. So with B2B, you are selling to people that are going to be selling your product.
So a retailer, distributor, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So like how we get our products into your salon.
Okay, so what was a big moment at IGK for you?
Probably launching at Sephora, and we actually had the top dry shampoo when we were there. And then we also did really well on social media and with like in the hair care space with the hairstylists, like different cultural moments. So like Coachella or Fashion Week, I would say that IGK showed up in a really amazing way from a professional hair point.
Okay, so you go from there to what's next?
I went to my dream brand. I went to Kosas.
Okay.
I went to high school with the founder, Sheena.
With Sheena. Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
What a small world. I mean,
The world is small.
The world is small. The beauty industry is small, but
I know, even our connections.
I know we have connections. Didn't even realize it.
Sheena and I weren't friends in high school, but I always admired her from afar. So followed her on social media and was watching her build Kosas.
Mm-hmm.
It was really different than anything out there in the space. And she was building it in a really different way than most beauty brands were going about building their brands.
Explain this to me. You knew Sheena, you loved what she was doing with the brand, with Kosas, and you just ran into her and you said, if you ever launch in Sephora,
I'm
call
pretty
me
sure
up.
I'm pretty sure I DM'd her.
Okay, that's amazing.
yeah,
okay,
I DM'd her.
Sheena.
And she said, let's meet for coffee. I drove to LA and met her at her favorite coffee shop, and we chatted. I think we got each other's vibe and background. We hadn't seen each other since high school. And then when the time was right, she reached out and we made it happen. In between there, I definitely I put together a presentation of my work and why I thought I was right for the job and why I thought the time was now.
Yeah.
And it was great.
And it worked out. You got your dream job.
I did. I got my dream job.
I love that so much. I think that's a lesson for a lot of people. Go for it.
Thank you.
And even if it doesn't work that minute.
Yeah, no, it was a time situation. I mean, it was I felt like I was watering the plant for a year, probably at least.
I love that so much. Yeah. So there you go. I mean, this is your dream brand and dream job. Where does it go from here?
So, I actually wasn't trying to go anywhere or looking anywhere else. And I had some colleagues from Too Faced, and I saw them going over to a brand called Aquas.
Yep.
And I was wondering, why are these people going to a hair towel brand?
Yep.
Even though Aquas is actually one of my favorite products, but was wondering what was going on over there. And not too long after that, Suveen, the founder, had reached out to me on LinkedIn and wanted to chat. And so I decided to chat with him because one of my really close friends was working there as his head of creative.
Okay.
And I took the call to see what they were up to. And he basically told me that they had some amazing technology. They were building something really special, almost like a once-in-a-lifetime situation. He was gathering, kind of like I almost say, like he was Nick Fury gathering his X-Men.
Yeah.
And he, proposed kind of a situation that I couldn't look away from, where he had amazing tech, was building an amazing team, and there wasn't going to be anything like it.
I love that. So you're almost taking a chance, though, because Aquas was doing well, but this wasn't, but it's a towel brand.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I was at my dream brand.
Yeah, that's a tough sell. I remember Aquas, actually, they tried to do hair care first through Aquas.
Yes.
And then they changed and they pivoted with this new technology to start a whole other brand called K18, which I think is a whole other lesson in itself, right? Of how you pivot and evolve. How did he convince you?
So he convinced me, I tried the product.
Okay.
The first thing is, and
at the time, it's one product.
At the time, it was one product. It was a tiny, 50 milliliter product that could fit in the palm of my hand. And he told me that it was $75. So I sat with this product in the palm of my hand, wondering, am I going to leave my dream job to go try and make this work? But then when I tried the product and saw how transformative it was, and then had, other people try it with different hair types and got the same reaction. And then when I saw the white space in beauty, which being in beauty now for a while, it's really rare that a technology or a story that can really disrupt a category comes along. Mm-hmm. So it was one of those really scary moments of taking a bet on myself and also on a technology that I didn't know about.
Right. And so that early on, you're VP of global marketing for K18. Did you join as VP of global marketing? Because how global were they?
I joined as the SVP.
Okay.
And we actually started global.
Okay.
And launched with global distribution and actually launched in, I think, 70 markets in year one.
Year one, 70 markets.
Yes, through professional distribution.
Okay, which is a lot different. And honestly, an avenue that I don't even understand or know besides topical, like surface level, you know, how it works. that's a lot of work.
I hadn't known about it either. But what was really interesting about it was it gave us time to really build the product and the brand with professional hairstylists who really then turned out to be our main brand advocates and who we think the product serves the most.
All right. So then you get this in year one, you get these professionals talking about you. So you build this community, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is really tough to do in the sense when you don't have a familiar face fronting it. When I got to K18, people didn't even want to try it, or it would be sitting in people's, PR piles. So it was, how do you influence people to even try the product? And so what we did was we really went after and stalked, even the founder himself, would DM and talk to hairstylists and really show them the product. We at least knew that once you try the product, it was transformative. So that was a growth hack in itself.
Okay.
And then we did billboards in LA, specifically around influential areas that we thought content creators or tastemakers would see these billboards. So it would be the kind of that second touch point.
Yeah. This is year one still.
This is year one. So it's kind of out of pocket, I'd say, for maybe an indie brand to launch with billboards. But it's been done. It's not the first time, but it's not, as conventional. But it was really a tactic to influence influencers.
I love that. I actually say to people all the time not to discredit what they see as micro influencers or smaller influencers because they don't have a big following, because they sometimes can be the people who influence the other influencers.
Totally. Yeah. And I actually, anecdotally had heard, Sheena, when early days in Kosas, she actually did billboards before she did any social media marketing, which is really kind of unheard of in beauty. And when I got there, we had a lot of DMs from people like Emma Chamberlain, who wanted product. And she said she had seen the billboard near her Erewhon. So it was, it was really interesting to see how people interact with a brand and how localized measures can work.
So what was the turning point, though? Because this is just year one. You're doing well. Yeah. But this is year one.
I'd say the turning point was definitely TikTok.
Okay.
We saw white space in terms of brands on the platform. Yeah. Because even now, 2021 feels like forever ago now.
Yes,
and TikTok and social media was a very different place in 2021 than it is today. But at that time, there was a lot of white space for hair. There was a lot of hair artists and people doing hair and science content on the platform. So it was really about finding the people where K18 would make the most sense and it wouldn't be out of pocket for us to be in their content.
Okay, so TikTok. Tell me how you've navigated this. And I want to point these things out and I want to talk about this because we actually are, both of our brands, I think that what's been really fascinating to people is how fast they grew and then got acquired. But ours came from a different direction. I already had a built-in community and we were able to leverage that. And we already had a starting point of what we knew our consumer at the beginning, what they were interested in. So you have this.
Yes, but you also, it's also an amazing story of you're not like a Hailey Bieber level celebrity. So breaking into that conversation at the right time, I think was super pivotal. So, but yes, yeah.
Thank you. Yes. No, I think so. And actually you bring up a good point. Timing. You said this also with Sheena, right?
Yes.
The timing is such an interesting aspect of this industry and of acquisitions also, right? And just getting a brand to grow because skincare for sure, early 2020, 2020 mid-lockdown.
Yes.
Skincare just became such a big focus. I remember before that brands being like, no, we don't want to work with. I was this content creator who just got shafted by all the brands. Even if I was talking about brands and selling their products for them, I wasn't invited to the events. I wasn't, getting sent product as much or anything. And it's because they were like, well, skincare doesn't really translate on social media.
They're like, we want the makeup influencers.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that for sure was a big timing thing where mid 2020, when everyone's sitting at home and they have time to focus on their skincare, that became a really big deal for us for sure. But for you guys, same thing. Like that, you guys had that white space. There was only one other brand I can think of right now that was really, truly dominating that space in a different way, different kind of technology, bonding technology that we now see is all over the place.
Yes.
And then you guys can come out and completely disrupt this market.
It was, like you said, timing. And it was also a complete and total dedication to our niche community of hairstylists and our most dedicated community, they've actually driven most of our earned media value, which is
The hairdressers.
Yes. And that is from mostly organic, unpaid measures. So it's been a really huge win to serve this community, a huge honor, if you will, because it's changed everything for K18. I think it's how we've been able to translate on social media.
And then for the brands that are potentially watching this and learning from you, besides the community you've built, have you ever done any paid campaigns with bigger celebrities or influencers then, or is it always just focused on your community?
So we've actually done quite a few partnerships. We tend to focus on our hairstylist community as number one.
Mm-hmm.
But when we've done campaigns and told different stories, we've partnered with people like Sofia Richie or Alix Earle. And even with talent like that, we've still worked with their hairstylists as well. So there's been that driving force of the hairstylist and the expertise as part of it. But yeah, we've worked with amazing people. And what's great is K18 works on all hair types and textures. So it's really opened the door for us on who we're able to work with.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. And I feel like now, it's becoming such a staple in everyone's hair care routines. So, and it's interesting because you don't have that many products. That's actually the other thing that I found very interesting because, obviously for us on NATURIUM, we have a lot of products that we can constantly push. We have new launches. So our marketing calendar is jammed,
I'm sure,
on all of these launches, right? So it's a whole different way of having a marketing strategy, some similarities for sure, but completely different calendar. Whereas you have how many products at this point?
We have 8 products.
8 products before acquisition, what, 5?
It was, I think when I say 8, I'm talking different sizes too.
Okay.
So we had, I think, 6 products before acquisition.
Okay.
We launched a shampoo and conditioner
Yeah.
right after. I'd say for us, and coming from a color background, like Too Faced with makeup, I mean, that's even more SKUs. It's like 20 lipsticks. So what's been nice has been being able to focus on the technology. One of our brand pillars is less is more.
Okay.
And that's like in all senses of the phrase. So, you only need a small pump of the product. You only need this product versus 10 products for your hair. It's actually been refreshing to be able to focus and not have to shift all the time. But I'd say we also have a ton of focus and a ton of investment on what we call our hero products. So we don't take our foot off the gas.
Yeah, I love that. Is it easier in some ways coming from, color? You do, like you said, have so many SKUs to have to market.
Yes.
Is it easier in some ways to just remarket? Is that even a term? Remarket?
Remarket.
Yeah.
Yes and no, because it's not a new product. So you don't have that excitement of something new.
Mm-hmm.
But we know that we also we're still only 3 years old. So we've only scratched the surface on who's tried it and who's been able to experience it. So for us, it's really about a ton of brand awareness this year.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how do you do that? What would be?
Well, I asked for a lot of money. I'm just kidding. But no, I'm not.
Well, now you have way more resources under Unilever, right?
Yes. What's great about Unilever is it's still pretty hands-off and very entrepreneurial. So they're going to help a lot, I think, in terms of scale, supply chain, those types of things, but have been pretty hands-off in terms of marketing, product. So it's been great.
Yeah.
But this year, taking into account our big goal is brand awareness.
Yep.
It was making a case for the runway that we have at K18. Why am I going to ask for more investment, without being able to show what it's going to produce?
Yep.
Making big bets. Yeah, we're definitely making some bigger bets in TV.
Okay.
So diversifying from social to different areas. But still, I'd say social media first and being digitally native is the driving force of our strategy. And that's before and after Unilever.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. How do you choose who you're going to work with content-wise or sponsorship-wise?
Again, K18 works on every hair type and texture. So it's how is our product going to show up in the most compelling way? Who is very culturally relevant right now?
Yep.
We all happen to be big fans of social media and TikTok. So who's influencing us? We always share people, and even in the company, like who's influencing you right now.
Yeah.
And so we're really excited to partner with Simone Biles
Fun!
as our first brand ambassador.
I love Simone Biles.
She's amazing. Just a game changer in all senses of the word. She loves the product. It's for our mask and for our core products. So it's one of those ways that we're bringing our hero product to life.
Okay.
And it's really like a way to take a cultural moment and tell a K18 story with someone who we see as kind of the face of this for us. I think we've been watching Simone, and she almost has this underdog story of coming back to the Olympics, going back to Paris after taking a break. So we're really proud to be a little part of that. We actually worked with her and her hairstylist and shot the campaign at her gym in Houston. So I got to see her do her thing in the gym, and just even her taking a breath was so powerful.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see how it translates. A lot of people are getting into athletes and sports within beauty.
Yep.
So I'm interested to see how other brands play in the space. There's a lot of exciting things that the other brands have been doing too.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. So I know that I've experienced from the brand side that sometimes it's really hit or miss when you use a really big influencer, which is scary because they're so expensive.
That is very true.
Yeah.
You're making a big bet.
You're making such a huge bet and you're spending so much money. You're also now, I imagine, we haven't done it since we've been acquired, but you would also then be presenting to the parent company of why you're spending such a massive budget. When you look back on some of these bigger campaigns or bigger influencers, I guess, that you've worked with, were they successful? Were there learnings from it? I mean, whatever you can share.
Yeah. I think for us, the biggest growth hack has been partnering with people on the cusp of their, peak momentum, let's say. So it's really being bullish on someone that you feel is about to really be relevant. For us, an example of that is, Alix Earle, we saw much sooner than most brands did. And we were able to send her the product and almost like in that sense of influence the influencers in Miami, we sent the product to her hairstylist. Like we made sure it was in her world. So we were able to partner with her when she was relatively new and in an authentic way. And we've actually continued our partnership. She helped us launch Airwash. So we've, stayed and have invested more with her as she's grown.
And that's actually maybe a really important key to point out too, is not just activating a big influencer once, but then staying on their radar and also partnering with them, just kind of keeping that momentum going with them.
I'm a big advocate of it being a real relationship. And I think one and done is definitely not an ideal scenario. If you can keep something going for longer, that's your best case. So for us, it's really about identifying creators or culture makers, at the brink of when they're about to blow up, and then also keeping that relationship going. And then also I'd say for a metric, we're not looking at least from my being in a leadership perspective, I'm not only looking at did this person post and did that translate to sales? For me, I can go to our board or our leadership team and explain, we're looking for hyper growth and here's some other metrics to look at other than sales. And that might be earned media value, or our search impressions have really skyrocketed in the last year. And we can say it's because of this.
So speaking of being early to find these bigger content creators or bigger influencers to work with, you worked with Sofia Richie last year. And I feel like since then, she has really blown up in the beauty space. I mean, I feel like every single brand is now using her as an ambassador. Do you feel like you were on the early side?
I definitely was watching her wedding in real time on TikTok and happened to have her agent's number. So I actually texted her agent while they were at the wedding and said, "This is amazing. Would love to chat more." And so we chatted when she got back from Paris.
That is quick.
It was fast.
I think most people would assume this is going to have this whole turnaround, where you're going to go through different agencies, have to have a process, pitch all these numbers, all that stuff. This is literally a text message.
It was a text message while she was at the wedding. And that's when the best deals happen, I think.
Totally. Yeah. Something I think that's really interesting for brands is that when they're starting to explore social media and, especially working with influencers, these days, it's a little bit of a wild card because you could get canceled. You could work with an influencer who then suddenly gets canceled and then you're stuck in the middle of something. Have you ever had to deal with that from the marketing side?
Yes, we actually have. And for us, it's really important to align with creators that really align with our values and our brand codes and what we stand for. So I think for us, as long as we're aligned there, we're good. We actually worked with Dylan Mulvaney right when the Budweiser situation was happening.
Can you give us a little bit of background for people that might not know?
At the time, Budweiser was getting a lot of backlash for sending Dylan cans of Budweiser with her face on it. Because of all this vitriol and because of all the hate on social media, she decided to take a pause on posting.
And at this time, you've got a campaign planned around her?
And at this time, we're coming up on... We worked with her a few times and we're coming up on Pride. So she wanted to pause. This was probably in May. She wanted to pause and hold until things died down. And we absolutely supported that. And we said, whenever you're ready to post, you can post.
Yeah.
And, some might ask, why did you have her post in the midst of this, this big backlash?
Yeah.
Could it negatively affect your brand?
Mm-hmm.
And for us, it was really about aligning on those brand values, having that North Star of knowing what we stand for and what's right. And for us, we stand by Dylan, and she's part of our community. So, yeah,
I imagine that she appreciated that too.
I hope so.
That you stuck with her. You stuck with her through knowing that there's backlash because I've worked with so many influencers on the talent management side where even if it's like a small drama that's happening within their community where the average person would never know this is happening, some brands will stop working with them or tell them that they just want to take a pause because they just don't want to be involved with any drama.
Yeah.
But you took a different approach and you kind of embraced her even more so through drama.
We definitely are creator-led in that sense of we put our relationship first, especially if we feel there's been no wrongdoing.
Yep.
And that was definitely the case. So for us, it was really about when Dylan was ready. And so, we were happy to support that.
Yeah. Were you preparing for any kind of backlash, though, or preparing for any rude troll comments, anything like that on your own social media?
We definitely had to monitor the situation, and we had news articles that came out.
About you? About K18?
About K18.
Really? Supporting this?
That, she posted and worked with us. It was very, kind of hateful media.
That is so strange.
So it was definitely something that other people saw and we had to address, but we stood firm in how we addressed it.
Michelle, this was so much fun. I loved hearing about this. Thank you so much for joining us. This was a fun conversation.
Thank you so much, Susan. This was so much fun. I'm such a fan.
I can't wait to hear more about your tretinoin journey later.
Oh my gosh, I will send you pictures.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of My Life Online. If you enjoyed it, make sure to follow, rate, and review, and also share it with a friend so we can continue making great episodes for you. You can also find me on social media. I'm at Susan Yara, and if you love all things beauty, especially skincare, make sure to check out my YouTube channel, Mixed Makeup. A big thank you to Spotify for hosting the interview portion of this episode, and I'll talk to you soon.